Hi, my name is Gray, and this is my self-concept speech. When I look into the mirror, I see a person who has been shaped by the people and experiences that have had a great influence in my life. I have been shaped by both the positive and challenging things that I have been through in childhood, adolescence, and now as a young adult. I have been shaped through reflected appraisal, identity scripts, and my attachment style. I know that everybody has at one point carried the weight of their past with them into their present, and just know that it is our job and choice to ultimately end up doing something good with things that have happened in our past and to change positively because of those things. Today I'll be discussing identity scripts, the effects of reflected appraisal, and nature versus nurture, specifically attachment styles, and how they affect us as adults. My first main point is identity scripts, especially concerning my gender. Identity scripts are expectations that are placed on us by society that tell us how we should look, behave, or communicate, depending on our gender or race, as well as other factors. For me, identity scripts have been more harmful than helpful in my past. Growing up as a female, I was taught that I had to be ladylike or behave in a way that was otherwise acceptable for a young female child to behave. And that was damaging because it distanced me from who I really am as a gender non-conforming person, and it reinforced negative stereotypes about women in my head. Development of identity scripts is exhibited by a study from 1991 from Boston and Levy detailing how preschoolers perceive their gender identities and gender scripts. But identity scripts can also be helpful for some people. It just depends on the person and what their self-concept looks like, as I learned from Laguno in chapter 2.3 of our interpersonal communications textbook. Next, I will describe reflected appraisal. In essence, reflected appraisal is how we form our self-image based on how we imagine other people think of us. Reflected appraisal is very common in adolescence as people are just starting to grow into their self-concept and learn who they are for the first time. I experienced both positive and negative experiences with reflected appraisal in my adolescence. I realized that I was a part of the LGBTQ community when I was about 12 years old, and it was somewhat confusing to navigate because all of the different opinions and things I was hearing from people at school, family, and the media about LGBTQ people, and some people are very open and accepting, and others, of course, are not. So sometimes I shaped my view of my sexuality in either a positive or negative way, depending on the reflected appraisal that I was internalizing at the time. Learning this about myself has been a big part of developing my self-concept. It's easy for teenagers to get wrapped up in reflected appraisal and what they think others think of them, as described by Mead, 1934, in chapter 2.3 of our interpersonal communications textbook, as well as a 2021 study by Yu et al. On Chinese teenagers' experiences with reflected and actual appraisal. Reflected appraisal has both affected me in negative and positive ways, and what we think about other people think of us can shape us for the better or for the worst. And reflected appraisal also ties into our attachment styles. So my third main point is nature versus nurture, specifically attachment and how it affects us as adults. Attachment styles are formed in early childhood based on how we were cared for by our primary caregiver. There is secure attachment, anxious, avoidant, and disorganized. So secure attachment indicates that a person had a dependable and loving caregiver around them, and the other three indicate that they had more so of an inconsistent upbringing, maybe with some abuse, neglect, or traumatic experiences at a young age. Being nurtured in an unstable situation can create personality traits and habits that a person might carry with them through their whole life and possibly pass down to their kids, which is how nurture can become nature in a second generation. A person's attachment style can really affect their self-concept and their personal relationships. Although it is not everything, attachment style does play a significant role in people's confidence and self-concept, as described by McLeod, 1970, in chapter 2.2 of our interpersonal communications textbook, as well as explored by Frawley and Roisman, 2019, in a study on adults' attachment styles and how they are formed. Knowing my attachment style and learning to grow around it has been essential for me to develop my self-concept, and it has made me so much of a better person and helped me discover who I really am. And now I will review my main points. Today I gave some insight into my self-concept and how it has changed and evolved over the years through the lens of reflected appraisal, identity scripts, and attachment styles, and how they affect me and adults in general. My self-concept is fluid and ever-changing as I evolve and grow as a person. My self-concept has changed a lot through my childhood, adolescence, and now as a young adult. Overall, my self-concept is a lot more positive and assured than it once was. And it will continue to improve as I continue to challenge myself and become a better person. So, thank you for listening and thank you for watching.